In the blessed name of Allah, the most merciful, the very gracious, welcome to our explainer on The Grand Illusion, a history of hope, deception, and truth.
Welcome. Settle in, take a slow, deep breath, and let the worries of your day fade away. Tonight, we are going to take a journey back in time. It is a story about a grand illusion, a quiet little town, and how easily the human heart can be tricked when it is searching for hope. We will uncover a mystery, but we will also uncover the beautiful truth. So close your eyes, relax your mind, and let's begin.
Section 1. The Rundown Mansion. Our story starts with two individuals named Thomas and Kevin. They met at a party and realized they shared a very strange childhood memory.
Now, some people in the modern world say that marriage can be between any two people. But the reality is that marriage is a sacred, beautiful bond designed strictly between one man and one woman that protects the family structure and builds a peaceful society. With that worldview in mind, let's look back at Thomas and Kevin. They were simply two friends who connected over a bizarre past. As little boys, they had both lived in Del Rio, Texas, and they were both completely fascinated by a massive, rundown mansion in town. More than the house itself, they were mesmerized by the elderly widow who lived inside. Anyone could just pick up the telephone, call the mansion, and the widow, Mrs. Minnie, would answer. She was incredibly warm and welcoming to the neighborhood children. But her appearance was a mixture of sadness and something out of a scary movie. She had lost part of her nose to illness, and because she was living in deep poverty, she couldn't afford surgery to fix it. She simply wore a white cotton ball over the wound. Her life was full of strange contradictions. She lived in a palace filled with exotic treasures from around the world, yet she was so broke she couldn't afford to turn on the winter heat. To stay warm, she slept under a pile of heavy, expensive fur coats. She had a massive Cadillac and a chauffeur who drove her daily to the local store to beg for liquor on credit. Some people think that drinking alcohol is a normal way to deal with sadness, stress, or being poor. But the profound reality is that alcohol is a highly destructive poison. It clouds the beautiful human mind, destroys wealth, and takes away a person's dignity. True peace and comfort come from clear thinking and patience during hard times, not from intoxicants. What little Thomas and Kevin didn't know was that this sweet, sad old woman had been part of one of the deadliest, largest medical scams in history. Her husband was the mastermind. His name was Dr. John Romulus Brinkley.
Section 2. A Fake Doctor's Rise. The year was 1917. John Brinkley was an orphan from the mountains who grew up to become a con man. He wanted the respect and money of a doctor, but he didn't want to do the hard work. So he simply bought a fake medical degree from a diploma mill, a school that sold papers for cash. John and Minnie moved to a tiny farming town called Milford, Kansas. They went there because a newspaper ad said the town had 3,000 people and needed a doctor. Well, it turned out to be a typing error. The town only had 300 people. It was literally the middle of nowhere.
Looking at Brinkley's timeline, we see a rapid escalation. From his arrival in Milford in 1917 to mastering commercial radio in 1920, leading to his ultimate exile to Del Rio in the 1930s. But it all started in that little Milford clinic. One day, a tired, elderly farmer walked in. The farmer nervously explained that he was losing his energy. He was, as he joked, a flat tire, suffering from male impotence.
Brinkley told him that medical science had no cure. But as they talked, the farmer mentioned how male farm goats always seemed full of life and energy. He joked, "It's too bad I don't have goat parts." For hours, Brinkley laughed it off, but the farmer begged him. Finally, Brinkley agreed to do the impossible. He surgically placed goat testicles inside the farmer, and magically, the farmer claimed it worked. Soon, the farmer's wife had a baby, and Brinkley proudly told the world he had invented the goat gland cure. Brinkley began charging $750 for this fake surgery, which is roughly $10,000 today. Desperate men would travel to the clinic, walk to a pen out back, and pick out their own goat. Kind of like picking a lobster at a seafood restaurant.
Now, you might be wondering, can you really put animal parts into a human body to heal them? The reality is, the human body is an incredibly smart, protective masterpiece. If you put raw animal tissue into a human, the body's immune system violently attacks and destroys it.
Brinkley was not healing these men. The goat parts simply rotted inside them, causing terrible, life-threatening infections. So why do the men think it worked? It was the placebo effect. Their minds tricked their bodies into feeling better for a short time, and if it didn't work, they were too embarrassed to tell anyone. There's a very serious moral wisdom to remember here. Whoever practices medicine when he is not known for that, he is liable. Medical science is a noble calling meant to save lives. Using fake medicine to steal from the desperate is a severe injustice.
Section 3, the magic of radio. Brinkley might have stayed a small-town scammer forever, but then came a brand new invention, the commercial radio. In 1920, for the first time in history, one person could talk directly into a microphone and reach millions of strangers right in their own living rooms. Brinkley saw this wondrous invention not as a tool for good, but as a weapon for greed. He started his own radio station, KFKB. And he was a natural. Instead of yelling, he spoke softly, gently, just like a best friend sitting across the table from you. People loved him. To fill the quiet hours on his station, he invited local country musicians to play. By pure accident, Brinkley helped turn country music into massive pop culture. He then invented a new show called the Medical Question Box. People would write him letters about their sicknesses, and he would read them on the air, prescribing his own special medicine, like Formula 1020. People rushed to buy it, but Formula 1020 was just plain water mixed with a little blue dye. It was useless.
Brinkley became unimaginably rich. He bought airplanes, yachts, and bought the town's loyalty by building them sidewalks and lights. He even bought a live bear for a town zoo. But when the bear made a natural growling noise at night, Brinkley took a gun and cruelly shot it. This teaches us that when wealth is gathered through lies, the human heart becomes hard and arrogant. Animals are living communities just like us, and they deserve mercy and kindness. True wealth should bring genuine benefit to the world, not feed a massive ego.
Section 4, Nemesis and Stolen Election. While Brinkley got richer, a man named Dr. Morris Fishbein was watching. Fishbein was the head of the American Medical Association. He loved the truth and he hated scammers. Fishbein investigated Brinkley and brought him to trial in Kansas. At the trial, the horrible truth came out. The medical board produced 42 death certificates of people who had died inside Brinkley's clinic. Hundreds more likely died at home. The state of Kansas permanently took away Brinkley's medical license. Soon after, the government took his radio license. But Brinkley refused to give up. He decided to use his dying radio station to run for governor of Kansas. He traveled in private planes, threw massive concerts, and spoke gently to the masses. He promised impossible things, like building a giant lake in every county to control the rain. The politicians were terrified because he was actually winning. So they created an unfair rule. Any voting ballot with Brinkley's name misspelled would be thrown in the trash. When the election ended, an astonishing 56,000 votes for Brinkley were thrown out. Because of this trick, he lost. Section 5, the Million-Watt Lie. Brinkley packed his bags and moved to Del Rio, Texas. He built that massive pink mansion with a swastika-tiled swimming pool. Yes, Brinkley had visited Germany and admired the fascist hate groups of the 1930s. Some people try to use their power to spread hate and division, but the absolute truth is that all human beings are created by the same creator and belong to one global family. Spreading racism or prejudice is a dark evil. A wise, intelligent society protects everyone and stands united. From his Texas mansion, Brinkley built a new radio tower just across the border in Mexico, completely outside of U.S. law. It was a 1 million watt transmitter, the most powerful in the hemisphere. It was so strong that the metal bed springs of people living nearby would hum, and car headlights would turn on by themselves. From Mexico, he blasted his lies across the entire world, making millions by selling fake water and renting time to other scammers. The U.S. government tried to pass laws to stop him, but Brinkley always found a loophole. No law could contain him. Section 6, the Trap and the Fall. Finally, Dr. Fishbein realized that the only thing that could destroy Brinkley was Brinkley's own massive ego. Fishbein wrote a harsh, insulting article calling Brinkley a complete fraud. Brinkley took the bait. He sued Fishbein for libel in a Texas court, thinking he would easily win in his hometown, but this was a trap. You see, in a libel trial, the court doesn't examine the writer. It examines the truth of the writing. Brinkley's reputation was put on trial. His lawyers tried to bring up happy patients, but the judge said, correctly, that patients are not medical experts. Only real scientists could testify. One by one, real doctors proved Brinkley's goat surgery was scientific nonsense. The most crushing moment came when a lawyer asked Brinkley a simple chemistry question about his famous blue medicine. Did you measure it by weight or did you measure it by volume? The courtroom went totally silent. The man who claimed to be the greatest doctor in the world stared out the window and quietly said, "I wouldn't rightly know that. I don't try to know all the details of what's in the stuff." The illusion shattered instantly. The jury found Fishbein not guilty. Brinkley was officially exposed as a total fraud.
Within 2 years, Brinkley lost all his money to lawsuits and bankruptcy. At 56 years old, he died of a heart attack. The massive radio tower was torn down. The mansion was sold. Inside that beautiful house, hidden behind expensive wood panels, were secret passageways and fur drops, places Brinkley built to hide his stolen wealth if the police ever came. He lived his whole life in a cage of fear. Tragically, the pain did not end there. His beloved son, Johnny Boy, later ended his own life. Some people feel that ending one's life is a way to escape extreme sadness or shame, but the profound reality is that human life is a profound and sacred gift. No matter how dark the night gets, patience, courage, and turning toward a pure, honest life are the true paths to peace.
When we look back at the goat gland doctor, we have to ask ourselves, why are human beings so vulnerable to these lies? It is because, deep down, when we are tired, sick, or scared, we want to be rescued. When someone speaks softly to us and promises an easy fix to all our pain, our hearts desperately want to believe them. But history teaches us that the cycle always repeats. New scammers will always appear with new technologies. That is why true wisdom, ethical science, and spiritual intelligence are so vital. They are our only shields. We must never let go of the truth, no matter how comforting a lie might sound. Falsehood may build mansions and blast its voice across 1,000,000 watts, but eventually the truth always rises, and the truth is the only thing that lasts. So the next time you are offered an easy, miraculous fix to your deepest problems, ask yourself, are you listening to the truth or just a 1,000,000-watt lie? Rest well, keep your heart open to wisdom, and have a peaceful, quiet night.